Hello, and welcome to the GetResponse list building program. Get your first 10,000 subscribers. My name is Abby Hartz, your list building coach. In this tutorial, we're going to talk about how to write your lead magnet. In the prior tutorial, you did a bunch of market research that should have exposed you to all sorts of things that your audience is concerned about. We went to YouTube, we went to blogs, we went to Amazon, we went to forums, and so you should at least have 3 or possibly more than a dozen different ideas of topics that people are really concerned about and issues that they want to know more about. And so what we want to do is condense what you've learned into a solution into any one of those, anxieties or issues that they have. And it's really important that this checklist that you write or this report that you write be fairly short. This is an extremely common way that people get bogged down in their list building, is that they spend a month I even spent about 6 months working on a huge research report. You spend months like that writing your lead magnet, and the reality is that people don't want to read a lot, and they don't, want a book. They don't want to have to work too hard. They're really looking for you to distill the information that is available and give them their answers fast. And so, if you even took the time to run an A/B split test, and some people have, testing the 3-month-long report project versus a checklist that took them 3 hours to write, it is not uncommon for the checklist to actually outpoll a huge report. The checklist reports better. And so I want to spare you a month from writing a huge lead magnet. And we're going to do this in just 2 or 3 hours. Basically, what we want to do is just solve their problem. And we do want to do that in a concise way. If you solve their problem, they will trust you, and they'll come back to your content. They'll love you, and eventually, if you keep solving their problems, they'll even be willing to buy from you. So what makes a good lead magnet? We've talked about how it is short, but let's quantify that. So, I'm looking for use when doing this too, but for all of us to write a lead magnet that is 2 to 5 pages long, and any more than that is really not necessary at this point. Another thing that you want to do is make it into a PDF when you're done. Making things into a PDF is really easy. You don't need to buy any software. You just go into either Word or Google Docs. When you go into print, you can choose Save As, PDF, and that's all you have to do. And it means that people can't manipulate your document as much. Another thing that is just important, as it mentions later, is that you want to add some information so that people can find you again. It is quite possible that if you do a good job with a lead magnet, that someone who subscribes to your email list will take that lead magnet and pass it along to another person. In marketing lingo, that could be called making it go viral. And so, if it does go viral, you want to make it easy for people to find you, even if all they have is that little PDF. The next thing is to make it visual. This just makes it more likely to be read. It also makes people more likely to focus on what you've written for them. And so it just makes it easier to digest, basically, in terms of, taking in information. At the very least, you should be adding a logo. If you don't have a logo, head over to Fiverr and look it up. Do some searches for logo creation. You can get a decent logo created for $5 to $10 and probably a nicer one for like $20 to $30. There are a lot of people who make logos. And of course, photographs do help. There are a lot of free photograph resources. You want to search for copyright-free photographs or copyright-free images, and you can also have a graphic that illustrates an idea or a system. In marketing lingo, those are called infographics. And so if you've got a system or a concept that you can illustrate in some way, those are really valuable, and they can just be great for lead magnets. If you don't have an image editing software like Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop, don't hesitate to get out some magic markers and a piece of paper and draw the concept that you really want and then scan it and put it into the lead magnet. That's actually kind of like a hip, cool way to really personalize what you're talking about, and people would like it. So here are some ideas for lead magnets for consultants. 5 ways to tell if a SEO consultant knows their stuff. 10 lies more CPAs tell everyone. The ultimate wedding checklist. How to tell if you're ready for a life coach. As you can probably guess, these are all interchangeable. So this could be how to tell if you're ready for a Harley, or the ultimate ski diving checklist. That would be important. 10 lies most doctors tell everyone. These are all good. You could use them as a consultant or affiliate marketer or anyone. The 10 lies and the 5 ways to tell if someone knows their stuff are good if there's a lot of anxiety in the market. And so health does very well with this. Financial issues do very well with this. Anything that people kind of feel dumb at and are a little anxious about the outcome, those are going to do well here. And here are some ideas for affiliates. The ultimate gear list. We've got more biggest lies, 10 rules of anything and when to break them, the definitive guide to internet marketing. Definitive guides do really well in terms of conversion. So if you wanted to write the definitive guide to your niche, that would probably be a bigger report than we would want to do here. I might take maybe a subtopic that's in your niche. So like the definitive guide to how to write amazing report titles. That would be a good lead magnet. Here's some ideas for e-commerce companies. 15% off. Notice that is not 10%. 10% is not really enough to get people excited. So if you really do want the name, consider doing 15% off or 20% off. Free gifts are cool, but you want to include a photograph of that free gift. Entries into contests for X numbers of merchandise can do very well. I see a lot of sporting goods stores doing that, so that may work well for sporting goods or maybe hobbyist websites. And then you can show people how, the use of their product in a way that they've never thought of before. That's always, A, way to get them engaged, B, a way to deliver content, and C, a way to get them to want to buy it. So let's talk about how to get started with this checklist in 25 minutes or less. I want to introduce you to one of my favorite things. It's called the Pomodoro technique. It's based on brain science, and yes, the name Pomodoro is Italian for tomato. But basically, the brain science behind the Pomodoro technique is that human beings work well in short, intense bursts of focus, and then with a little break in between. The deal is that, while you're doing the 25-minute interval, you absolutely focus. No checking email, no going to get coffee, no checking eBay, no responding to the dog barking. If you have children, they need to be taken care of. It's a very focused work session, and the rule is that if you get interrupted, you start that Pomodoro over again. So obviously, you're going to need a timer for this. There's lots of different timers and software programs, and there are a bunch of Pomodoro apps. I do use a simple Pomodoro timer. That's an iPhone app that was free. They're all good. Use whatever you like. If you've got an egg timer, that will work. Use a timer on your computer, whatever you have. And so what you do, and what we're going to do as soon as I'm done talking in a couple of minutes, is you're going to sit down and put 25 minutes into writing your lead magnet. This can be really helpful to frame this. It's just 25 minutes. If you have issues with procrastination, the Pomodoro technique is amazing because all you've got to do is just sit down for 25 minutes. Another thing that is enormously helpful is to remind yourself that the bar is very low here. You don't have to finish a lead magnet in 25 minutes. You don't have to write elegant paragraphs. Your grammar school teacher is not going to be reviewing this. It can be messy. You can paste in stuff from your market research. You can have typos. It is a free-for-all. Just get your ideas on the page. That's all we need from this. And so when you're done, take a little break. 5 minutes is a good break. If you still feel a little burned out, take maybe another 10-minute break. The thing is here, just don't lose your context. You need to certainly rest so you can be sharp again for your next work session, but don't get interrupted so much that you lose track of where you were, because that really is where the productivity comes in. In the next work session, you're going to set the clock, and we're going to go in and develop what you've got. You'll probably have at least a couple of paragraphs, even if it's only 2 paragraphs from your first work session. So then in the second work session, you're going to flush that out. You might want to simplify your sentences. If you want, you can start doing some editing. It's okay. You might want to add subheaders because that's a way you can work in an outline. And by the way, just writing an outline during the first session is great. And just continue on working on developing what you've written in the second Pomodoro. Add research where you want, but be careful about adding too much research because that can eat up a lot of time really fast. So your 25 minutes will be up really quickly. You'll probably have a page or a couple of pages by then. And then you are done for this tutorial. Don't worry about being finished. Don't worry about it being perfect. We've got 2 more work sessions and the next tutorial that I'll see you very soon for. So I hope that was helpful. Good luck with your first 2 Pomodoros, and I'm sure you're going to get more done than you might think. Are you ready to enjoy the full GetResponse list building program and grow your list by up to 10,000 subscribers in 90 days? If so, just visit our website or log into your existing GetResponse account or start a 30-day free trial.